they had a certain idea for me that they wanted to do. I kind of liked the look, pieces of it, but I didn't care for the name. They wanted to call me the Idol, and it was just didn't feel natural. And I just asked if I could kind of try to find out who I was and what I was going to be as a character. Then they gave me Sherry and the music, and we had the mirror, and you sort of just start working with that,
right?
And it just kind of evolved organically. And then having a different person do my gear, because I was a kid from Texas, I always liked the aspect of cowboys and their chaps. So I wanted to have chaps done, but I knew I couldn't be a cowboy. Vince at that time hated cowboys and stuff like that.
Okay.
So what could I do? And I kind of was inspired. I was an Elvis fan, and also, a fan of Freddie Mercury.
Okay.
I thought he was just one hell of a showman.
I can see that.
Yeah. And so, anyway, so it was kind of just a blend of all those things. Then Kurt Hennig, had mentioned calling me the Heartbreak Kid on commentary. He told me about it. I was like, I kind of like the name. And then it just came out one time on a promo, and they were all things that just slowly kind of, went with this music and this movement and stuff like that. And I can't dance a lick. My wife and everybody will tell you that the moves that I do during that entrance are the only ones that I have. But yeah, then it just became kind of this, going down with the chaps and the zipper and stuff like that. And it just kind of became what it was, and it seemed to work.
Yeah.
And the more I did it, the more it seemed to work. And the more outlandish I got, the more it seemed to work. And it's one of those things that you begin chasing that dragon, to be perfectly honest, is what it becomes once you get that response, and and it's palpable. You just feel like, okay, the more I do this, the more I get into it, the more this is going to work. And I did recognize that clearly no one else was doing it, because almost every dude wants to be the coolest guy in the room. This was just, there was no way, given the way I looked and my size, that I was going to be the biggest badass out there. There was just no way, not, in this land full of giants and men. And I had a completely different look. So what was the best way that I could, use what I had? And so what we saw as the Heartbreak Kid was the best I could come up with.
Well, you came up with something special.
I was about to say, because it's still, connects with kids today. Sexyy Red.
Well, because nobody will act like that big of an idiot on live television except for a few of us. So, yeah.
I don't know how heavy you are on TikTok, but obviously you got to be tapped in, because these videos have been going crazy online.
Well, yeah, I'll say this. I appreciate Sexyy Red from the standpoint. Yeah, she's kind of put HBK back on the map again with all of it. Yeah,
it's the aura.
Well, it's silliness is what it is. It's absolute silliness watching a 60-year-old man going out there and try to move like he was 25 or 35, which just not a chance. But it's been fun.
Yeah.
That's all the youth at the Performance Center in NXT, get a kick out of doing that stuff. And I'm a kid at heart. It keeps me from having to grow up. I've always told people that I've been so fortunate to not have to do that. I've got a family that understands that my children will have a father that continues to embarrass them for the rest of their lives. My wife puts up with me. And the idea that I get to go out there and have fun, and make, my living, is truly a blessing. And there are times like that when, I don't know, something like that just kind of happens and we roll with it. And those are the best things in my life have almost always come from that. Anything that I ever try to structurally do or plan or whatever doesn't work out that well. But the things that I stumble onto in my life have always been the things that have, reaped more rewards than when I'm actually, focused and goal oriented.
When did your focus shift from like being a great athlete to like a great entertainer now?
Well, I think in those early years, in the 90s, it was I guess just trying to make the most of what it was that I had in an era where I always kind of say I was never going to be the one they were going to pick. I was never going to be the guy that they say like, hey, that's the guy we want to build the company around. So what was the best way that I could be at least an extremely hot commodity that was something valuable to the company? I always felt from an in-ring standpoint, once I got into the ring, I always felt that I was very good at what I did, and I was comfortable with that aspect, but that's not always enough.
Yeah.
And so I will say I think for me, everything changed perspective-wise again in my second run. And look, I try to not beat people over the head with it, but it was finding Jesus and honestly getting perspective on my life and understanding that this was now much bigger than me, a wife and children and a job with a company that's been extremely patient with me, good to me over the years, and understanding this is a life now that can continue to give us a future unlike we'd ever, possibly dreamed of.
Yeah.
And beginning to understand that and start to do this, as a job, but also a job that you can thoroughly enjoy. And it is everything that I've ever wanted to do. It's the one thing in this world that I feel like I was good at, which is wrestling. And then on the other side, being able to give back, obviously has been, another blessing on top of that. Just now having the opportunity to give young men and women that come through the Performance Center at least the platform to be able to build a life and a future for themselves and their family going forward.
Yeah.
And that's an awesome responsibility to have. And so anyway, I don't know. I've been very fortunate for somebody that tried really hard to screw it up early.
Mm-hmm.
To be given that second chance was just something I didn't want to think that there was going to be a third or fourth.
Right.
I thought I would just be smart to take advantage of the second one, right, and try to make the most of it from that point on.
Love it.